Okay, so this is episode 3 because we're in episode 3 now.
Yeah.
Like this is the part that I'm talking about whenever it's like it felt like an NPC. So he's coming back into orbit with the prize, the target, Baby Yoda.
Oh, Mando.
He's like, oh, Mando, congratulations on collecting the bounty. Make sure to deliver it to the client. Like the way he was talking was like so generic NPC voice lines in an MMORPG. I loved it. Like I feel like that was because it was like it was too much like that. Like it had to have been a joke.
Oh yeah.
Just very much like, come here, and then it's like, and then like he shows up, you know, and we're skipping a little bit, but like eventually he shows up to talk to, you know, the guildmaster again, and he's like, oh, there's my favorite gun. I'm just like, I feel like I'm watching someone play an RPG. But it was really great. Anyway, but yeah, so I think it's in this part whenever like so Baby Yoda's awake and he's doing stuff and he tries like he's like messing with stuff. Yeah, there's like a little
knob.
Yeah, it's like one of the handles. There's a little like knob on it that screws off. And he's like, he takes it off, and Mando's like, don't touch that. Puts it down, and Baby Yoda's like, he's like, but I want to play with it. And then like he keeps having to like pick him up, put him back in his little bed. And
yeah, he just like grabbed him by the collar and just put him in there.
And Baby Yoda's like,
So he comes into the town, everybody's looking. Like,
oh yeah,
everybody's looking, and they don't explain this till later, but everybody's looking. I don't know why he doesn't have like it shut, because I'd be like,
yes, I mean like he's like walking around with the thing's open, and I was like.
Yeah.
Bro, what are you doing?
He comes to the door where the Imperials are, you know, knocks on it, and Hojo Bojo. You know, he scans the little card. The stormtroopers meet him at the door. He delivers the package and everything, and he gets like this.
It's a ton of Beskar steel. Like
a lot.
Ton. Like he opens up. It's like a giant like bucket thing that
looks
like he
like
opens
an ice
up.
cream maker.
Yeah, exactly.
Which it was like.
From the movie when it's like the actual like ice cream.
Yeah,
maker.
it was from episode 5. There's someone like running. He's called the Ice Cream Man.
Yeah, Ice Cream Man. Like he actually has his own action figure.
I didn't know he had an action figure. So that was in episode 5. So it's kind of like homage to Ice Cream Man.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like 2 stacks, but it's like that big, and because each thing is maybe like half an inch thick.
Yeah, and about that wide.
Yeah. 4 or 5 inches wide or something. You know, it's really cool because like they showed in the first episode, like they show them like because he takes it to their underground,
the Forge
like
Maiden.
Yeah, the Forge Maiden. Who's like she has like a super cool helmet. It kind of reminds me of the helmet, like the Inquisitor helmet from Inquisition, Dragon Age Inquisition. Just like the way like the eyes are cut.
Yeah.
But like they show her like melting it, and like it's so cool. Like the steel, it's not just like one solid color. It's like waves of like it's like dark and lighter gray.
Yeah.
It's really cool looking. But yeah, so he gets like all this steel, and he's just like, he asks, but then he's like, he has kind of like this weird like conscious thing where he's like, what are you gonna do with it? And they're like, because it's like against like the guild code to ask what's gonna happen to the bounty.
Yeah, like after you turn it in, you
like
get paid.
Then it's like it's as if it never happened.
Yeah.
And the Imperial guy's like, hey, he says that he's like, no, like I was under the impression that once this transaction was done, and so don't ever ask about this ever again. And Mando's like, okay.
Yeah, so he goes out with his ice cream maker. He goes to, and we didn't talk about this in episode 1.
Oh yeah.
About the forge and like the.
Yeah, so yeah, they have this like, so it's like all these Mandalorians, they're like basically living underground.
Yeah.
So you get the Forge Maiden, she's, she makes him like one shoulder pauldron, or I didn't say shoulder pauldron, that's what a pauldron is.
Yeah.
But then they look at it, they're like, that is
a lot.
And so like, they make him like a full out arm, like make him like all the rest of his armor. It's so cool.
Like all the Mandalorians are seeing like him come in with the ice cream maker, and like a bunch of them come in and they see how much it is, and one of them
he's trying to start stuff.
Yeah, he's starting stuff, but like, he's being paid by the Empire, which was,
Yeah, he's like, these are the people who stole me. But she's like, it doesn't matter because it's back with us now. That's what's important, is that we've gotten it back. That's what he's doing, is getting it back for us.
Yeah. So, they have a little scuffle. Then they're like, okay, whatever.
But yeah, they're like, no. She's like, stop it.
Yeah.
And then, because they make a comment in the first episode, it's like, oh, has your insignia shown itself to you yet?
Yeah.
He's like, no. And then she's like, and then she's like, oh, how'd your armor get so damaged? And he's like, oh, I fought a Mudhorn. She goes, oh, well, then that will be your insignia. And he goes, no, it wasn't a noble kill because my enemy helped me. And she's like, wait, why would your enemy help you? And he goes, well, it didn't know it was my enemy. And I'm like, oh, baby.
Yeah. So that answers like the signet thing. It's like some kind of big big kill that took a lot out of you.
Took a lot out of you, and it's like, as I guess, like, yeah, like you had to have done it yourself, as they call it, like a noble kill.
Yeah. And then, she starts, melting all the stuff, starts forging, and I love the forge here because
so cool.
It's really dope looking. She's like actually pressing the metal, like it has like this template. It looks like holographic in a way.
Yeah.
And then the metal gets pressed into that.
It's
so cool.
And then like you can see it's like they when they cool it off, it almost looks like melted vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
But then like she breaks it off and like there's this they call it the cuirass, which is like the shorter like chest plate thing.
I'm glad you're here. You can have all these armor descriptions.
Yeah, that's the great thing about being a nerd and a cosplayer and D&D. You learn all these armor terms. But yeah, so she calls it the cuirass, but it's a chess piece.
Yeah.
And so like she like cracks it open, like it's so satisfying to see like the molding, or I guess it was used to like cool the metal.
Yeah.
But she like it breaks off and like there's this beautiful shining silver metal underneath, and like oh yes.
So then. The next scene.
No, but the whistling.
Oh,
birds.
the whistling birds.
Which is like he says,
or is
like
it singing birds.
I think they were called whistling birds.
Okay.
But anyway, she's like, we have all this stuff, and he's like, oh, make sure you also save some for the foundlings, which are like the new incomers, I guess, like the children brought into the Mandalorian society.
As it should be.
As it should be. Which I super, it's like every time he like brings something in, he's always like, make sure you leave some for the kids.
Yeah, because he was a foundling.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't talk about that in
Yeah,
We're
just,
Yeah. We talked about a lot of things in episode 1, but we didn't talk about something
We're talking
important.
about it now, but yeah, because he's like, I was a foundling once, and she goes, oh, I know. And both times when he's in the forge, anytime she starts banging on something, we see like flashbacks to whenever he like loses his parents. So we see him as a kid.
Yeah.
He's a cute little kid too.
And we find out in episode 3 that it is not the Empire that attacked, but the Separatists with the droid army, because you see a super battle droid.
Yes, that's right.
Coming
Yeah.
after them. And that is why he hates droids so much, is because the Separatist droid army killed his parents and ransacked his village and everything. But we also see like this is a tribe culture.
Oh yeah.
With the Mandalorians and everything, because like they have like a whole chant. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. I have spoken, and this is the way.
Two things to learn. I've spoken. This is the way.
Yep, and Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda. But yeah. So whenever she's like, oh, we have so much, steel here. What do you want? And he's like, well, my armor's totally busted. I need more art. And she's like, yeah, we're gonna get you some new armor. And then she's like, oh, I could also make you some like whistling birds. And he goes, okay, cool. And then, I think you see them when she first gives it to him.
She like is placing them into
they're these little like blue LED tipped, like that's the best way to describe it, like blue LED tipped little like darts, basically that are in one of his
gauntlets.
Yeah, and and I was seeing that and I was like, well, I know what this is going to be used for.
Yeah.
Because reminder, like he's handed Baby Yoda over. He doesn't have Baby Yoda anymore.
Yeah. I love that this episode is called The Sin, though.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's called The Sin.
Because I'm going to go a little bit off here. Okay.
That's fine.
When Judas betrayed Jesus, he got paid 30 pieces of silver for Jesus.
Right.
When the Mando
betrayed... Was it 30 pieces?
I don't know if
I don't think it was 30. I don't think it was that many, but still, he got paid a lot
of... silver.
Yeah, basically silver. I like that.
Yeah, so it was called The Sin, and... It's
also, when you think about it, because, so he essentially, betrays Baby Yoda, but Baby Yoda doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
But then he also... So he gets the new armor, then he walks in to go talk to the Guildmaster, which is I talked about earlier just because... Yeah. Anyway,
But he comes in there, he's like... And this is the first time you see all the armor.
Yeah, you see all the armor, dude's looking fresh to death. He's just like...
White diamond up in here.
Yeah, looking like white diamond, shining like a star up in here.
But
everyone is they're just if looks could kill, it would have been a massacre.
Yeah. And then Carl Weathers is like,
hey!
He's like, my man.
My man.
All of this, and he's like, Mando asks, how many people had fobs? He's like, all of them.
But only you were able to bring him back. And Mando's like,
And I don't know if you caught this, but, he says, I also got paid in Beskar, and he pulls it out.
Yeah, he pulls it out of his chest, which comes back later in the episode.
But Beskar, how Mandalorians think, Beskar belongs to them.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
and so
he's
it's
just like,
yeah, Amanda's like,
because
that's not
the
okay.
Imperial guy said, I'm going to give you all the Beskar in the first episode. Mm-hmm. And he didn't.
Yeah.
So, he said, all of them, and he asked, what are they going to do with the kid? And he's like, I didn't ask, I don't care.
Yeah, and he's like, and neither should. He's like, dude, just like go off somewhere, like you'll forget about it in a couple days.
He's like, do some drugs. You'll
Yeah,
forget
yeah,
about it.
basically do some drugs, drink some alcohol, you'll forget about it in a few days. Amanda's like, maybe not.
So he asked for like the furthest away bounty, which is like this politician's son.
Something like that.
Like Skip Bell. And he's like, calamari. Don't know if it's like Akbar's kid or something.
Yeah,
like
part of
that.
me was curious, like they showed it and I was like, it's a trap. It's a trap.
So he takes that one, he goes to his ship, starts, lighting it up and everything.
then he goes to hit the lever that Baby Yoda turned the knob off of, and he's like, and then you see him, he's just like, again, like he doesn't say anything. It's just like his body, like his hand just stops like this. And then he goes, and like turns off everything, storms out, and he's like, no, I'm gonna go get Baby Yoda back.
Yeah. And then you see him get there.
Cool scene.
And he goes around back. There's two things that are in the scene. One is there's this pole that's just like in the background that was used in episode 4 in the trash compactor to like wedge the trash compactor.
I didn't notice that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's that same pole there.
I love that.
And then he looks in the garbage can.
And there's the empty bed, empty cradle egg,
The egg.
empty egg.
And that brings me back to the Suga. The last time he delivered an egg, what did they do to it?
Oh, yeah, because they ate it, and then whenever he's coming back into orbit with Baby Yoda, Carl Weathers, Guildmaster, basically says, he's like, I don't know what he wants to do with it. Maybe he wants to eat it. I don't know.
Yeah.
He makes that joke too. Yeah.
Yeah. So like he sees the egg there.
And he's like, full panic mode.
Yeah. So like he gets up on the roof. He has like this like listening in device.
Yeah, like like to figure out like where he is in the little building there, and then you have the coolest infiltration scene ever. So like he goes out, gets the eye stalk to come out, breaks it off, and he's like, no. And then stormtroopers come out, and he's like sneaking all around, gets in there, sneaks his way, takes out a few of them, and eventually he gets to Baby Yoda. And then the scientist is in there, and he's like, Mando's getting ready to like shoot him, and he's like, no, if it weren't for me, like he'd already be dead. Like, please, I kept him alive. Please. He's freaking out, and then he looks up, and Mando and Baby Yoda are gone.
Yeah.
And so he's like he's like holding Baby Yoda, and he's like trying to sneak out of the compound or whatever. And then eventually gets to the point where like the stormtroopers like they surround him, and he's like, okay, they're like, stop, put it on the ground. He goes, okay, what I'm holding is very valuable, and then puts it down, and then all of a sudden you see the little blue darts come out, and they just kill everybody.
Yeah. Quick note on the scientist: his arm patch is the same logo as Camino cloners.
Oh.
Yeah, same logo.
Interesting.
So my thought is, and a lot of people's thoughts were that he was going to be cloned.
I think so, because they wanted like the power.
Yeah, because they're all force sensitive.
Exactly.
And if they're cloning, they can also speed up the rate of how fast they grow, so they could
make them an army, essentially.
Brainwash them, make them an army.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, so I just pointed that little thing
Yeah,
out.
I didn't notice the clone patch thing, but I assumed that was like, they were going to use his DNA because they wanted the force sensitivity and stuff.
So he gets out there with Baby Yoda.
Yeah, and then
going down the middle of the street.
Yeah, okay, but then as soon as he leaves the building, the fobs start back up again.
Yeah.
Which leads us back to what we were talking about earlier. It's like, how do they work?
Yeah, how do they work? But he didn't go kill like the politician-looking Imperial guy.
That's true.
He killed everybody else except for the Doctor and him.
Yeah.
So clearly he restarted the fobs.
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe he restarted it.
And it goes back to where Carl Weathers was saying everybody has them.
Everyone had it. So then, that's like they're out in like the middle of like this like town square.
It's like OK Corral.
Yeah, pretty much. And like, all the bounty hunters are there, and Carl Weathers is like, "Hey there, don't put the kid down, and like let's just talk about this because
I'm your only hope."
Yeah, he's like, "I'm your only hope," and I'm like, "No, you're not. Have you met this man?"
Well, it's like it's also the throwback.
Oh yeah, you're my only hope. Yeah.
So he's like, forget this. He starts,
Oh yeah, no, like it's one of those.
Danny DeVito, and I started blasting.
Anyway, I start blasting.
But it's hilarious. This is the first time you see him trust a droid because he gets in the bed of that.
He's drive.
It's like, It's like, drive.
Drive. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. He's like, drive. He's like, and he goes, drive. And then you, like, it sounds like the droid goes, okay. I thought that was super funny.
So you see all of this chaos going on, all the shooting and everything. And then, like, Carl Weathers shoots the droid. It drops. And then everybody's kind of like...
Yeah, and, like, he's, like, looking at Baby Yoda. And Baby Yoda's like, what's going on?
And then he pulls out the gun. The gun.
The disintegrator.
And then he just starts like
and everyone's like, and I'm just like, because everyone's always like, oh yeah, we've heard that Mandalorian are super fierce. Oh, you can take care of this. But it's like, I feel like for most of them, if not all of them, it's the first time they've ever actually seen him in action.
Oh yeah.
And so they're all like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then as soon as like, then like they kind of start like he runs out of ammo or something.
Well, Carl Weathers is like, oh, that's a really powerful weapon you got there. And like he has like,
oh yeah,
yeah.
He's like trying to distract so you can have people like flank him. But the Mando's like, I'm not an idiot.
Yeah. And then all the Mandalorians
they just come up out of the woodwork. They got like jetpacks on.
Like Ham. I have to remember what I'm gonna call him. Ham, the big guy with the gun.
Oh yeah.
Like he comes down, the one that he fought with later. Like he has like this Gatling gun. Is just like.
And then they're like, no, like get your kid, get out of here, like leave. And so he gets up on the ship. Starts getting out. But then who's waiting for him on the ship? But Carl Weathers. And then he's like, boy, if you don't. And then Mando's just like, I don't have time for this, and just shoots him.
Yeah. Which incidentally is the same place where the best guy
so
still
he
is.
doesn't die.
Yeah.
So obviously he'll come back later.
They take off in the ship and everything.
My favorite is like this great part. I think it was Ham. Was it Ham?
Yeah.
Him, like, it's like almost like Iron Man style. He's like flying like next to the ship and he just does a little salute and then flies away, and the man is like, I gotta get me one of those.
Yeah.
Just super deadpan. It's so great.
And that is like a reference to Iron Man 1.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it sounds like a reference to Iron Man,
Yeah.
especially because it's Jon Favreau. So.
Yeah. So I love that. And then to top it all off, Baby Yoda, like he unscrews the ball.
And gives it to Baby Yoda. And Baby Yoda's like, yay. And then that's episode 3.
Yeah, I loved episode 3. I thought it was great.
A lot of good action also. He's saving Baby Yoda.
Like, you see that, like, there was the sin, but there was, like, the redemption from it.
Well, it's like, also, like, there's a sin against that. He redeems himself for that, but by doing that, he also commits a sin against the guild.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you just win against everything we stand for. And he's just like, I don't care, peace.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not letting this kid die.
Yeah. And who would? If you saw it, it's like, I can't let that. No.
Yeah, they're like, anytime they get one look at Baby Yoda, and they're like, oh.
Yeah, I loved episode 3. I think it's like every time I watch a new episode, I'm like, that's the best one. That's the best one.